home straight in the PWR, and round 14 saw some of the league's high-flying teams just about survive some upsets by the skin of their teeth.
We saw Quins extend their winning streak to 10 matches. Leicester Tigers show a good account of themselves and another valiant Loughborough Lightning performance.
The back-to-back champions Gloucester Hartpury just about held on to a nail-biter at King's Home to keep them top of the table.
And is that a circus that might now be even more galvanised and focused to deliver the three-peat with huge news coming out of Cardiff this week? That is a potentially very happy Welsh woman, Philippa Tuttiett. I'm Nick Heath, and this is the Power Pod. Oh, well, there we go. Are you a happy Welsh rugby fan this week, Philippa Tuttiett? What about the news we've had? In fact, actually, before we get your reaction, hold your horses, because let's play in this little 80-second video that the Welsh Rugby Union were very pleased to put out on Monday afternoon with their new acquisition, Wales head coach Sean Lynn.
Being brought up in Wales, in Swansea, to coach our home national team is an honour and a privilege. Where we can take Wales in this next chapter is really, really exciting, with a special talented group of players and staff, and which I'm getting really excited about. We're one family, and we will care for each other, and we will work hard, and we'll have that passion about how we want to be moving forward. So that one family is really big for us. But the key part will be we will challenge and learn in this environment. The next 6 months is very exciting. The first home game, Six Nations, at the Principality Stadium against England, and then we go into the home World Cup. I think if we're looking at inspiring the next generation, then there's no other bigger fixture. Playing at the Principality Stadium against number one ranked world team, and I just encourage as many people to come and watch. It will be a spectacle.
Right then, Phil, how are you feeling?
Oh, mate, this is the best news from Welsh rugby there has been in a long time. Oh, I'm so pleased. You know what? I actually saw Sean Lynn at the weekend because I was working their game, but I was literally dashing up to commentary. He was dashing to the coach's box. I said, Sean, I was like, am I going to see more of you in Wales come this Six Nations? And he just sort of laughed at me and went, hiya, Phil, see you later. And I was, oh. So I shouted down the corridor. I said, that's still not a no.
Great. I love that.
But I'm just buzzing.
I'm going to just share with you a little message I sent him, because you may remember, do you remember it was a week or two ago, and I said I'd spoken to him and I'd sort of asked him if he was on the job, and he was like, well, no, I've not heard from the Welsh, and I thought, it sounds like a Sean Lynn who, I have a good enough relationship with, who probably sounded a bit uncomfortable about lying. So I sent him a message and I said, look, I told Philippa 10 days ago that when I'd asked you one-to-one if you'd spoken to us and you said no, I said, I think that was Sean Lynn that was a bit uncomfortable lying to me. He replied, very uncomfortable, which I thought was lovely. And he went on just to say, simple 3 words, I'm so excited.
Oh,
and
amazing.
It's huge, isn't it? Isn't it
Yeah.
great? And, we've been around through these different eras of Welsh head coaches. Johan Cunningham was, thought and hoped he was building something. I think he'd lost the changing room by the time it really mattered. I remember going back to the days of Roland Phillips and question marks over the sort of nepotistic inclusion of his daughter in the team and all this kind of stuff, and there being factions of players that were a bit toxic, but they were sort of not being dealt with, all this. We are now at the point where the players can look at a head coach who they know has been there and done it, can bring different people and different personalities together with one aim, and that's all it needs to be about, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure those players are going to feel excited, but I hope some of them are feeling the pressure, because now you've kind of ticked every box. Now, granted, we never fully know what's going on behind the scenes. And obviously that everything came out last year about the contracts was really sad. And hopefully, WRU are going to learn from that. And obviously with the appointment of Belinda Moore now actually in charge of the Women and Girls programme, she'll have her influence. So we've got good coaching. Hopefully we're going to have good governance. They've got the environment. They're professional. What can you do with that, girls? And I mean, look, Sean Lynn's history, his first job at Hartpury College, he goes back-to-back championships 3 times in a row. He's now with Gloucester Hartpury, and what's happening? They're chasing their 3rd championship title in a row. So obviously, I've got to be realistic as a Welsh fan. So I'm thinking, we're now going to go for 2 consecutive Six Nations championships. That's being realistic, right?
Right. Okay. We're there already, are we? I see.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. I love it. Dreaming already. But it is big, and look, the people talk about how difficult it is to go back to back on a title of anything.
Yeah.
By the way, if there's a little more echo on your podcast this week, I have shifted rooms into my slightly cavernous high ceiling lounge. So yes, that makes it sound like I'm now boasting about my property. That wasn't the intention. Anyway, so I'm trying to stay nice and close to the mic so there's not as much echo. Caleb, our wonderful producer, will be doing his best to make it not sound as echoey. Anyway, I digress. Yeah, the fact that it can be so difficult to go back to back, and Gloucester Hartpury had that little wobble through November. They've come through it. It wasn't a crisis, even though some of the players felt it was, and they are looking good again. But you do hear about how difficult it is to go to the well a 3rd time and to find the motivation, because those chasing you down are normally so much more motivated. And this, to me, is just the 1%er they didn't have this season. Now, I'm not saying they weren't going to be good enough to go and do it anyway, but it's got to be a worrying thing for the likes of Harlequins, who've been right up there, the likes of Saracens and Exeter and Bristol. It's like, right, they've now got something to play for. They now want to send Sean Lynn off with that final title, that 3-peat, and absolutely have a party for their man, who a week later is really going to be under the feet under the desk in the Welsh job. So yeah, I fear for the rest of the PWR now because the circus have got an extra reason to perform.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, shall we look back at some of those nail biters from last round?
Yes, let's get on with it then.
Okay, so the round 14 review kicked off on Saturday with Bristol Bears 43, Leicester Tigers 29. High scoring one, this one. So last weekend's first game was at Ashton Gate, where Simi Pan was back clocking up the metres off Gabriella Negrelli's break from halfway, with Kira Bevan being that link player. Holly Phillips, gosh, didn't she take her opportunity? She bagged 4 tries and a Player of the Match award. And you just can't keep Millie David out of the match, who's got the 4th try and the bonus as Bears scored 7 tries in all. For Leicester, Emily Henrik was at the end of Meg Jones's pass to score. Jones getting 2 with a total of 5 tries for the Tigers. Over 70 points all in. But there was a difference in quality between the 2 teams, and that did show.
Yeah, it did. I loved Meg Jones's second, combining with Henrich. Just, sometimes a simple give and loop around is all it needs. And, classic Meg Jones, ball in 2-hand, keeping the defenders guessing left and right. And it came off the back of some really crisp, full-length passing, sort of 15, 18-metre passes to just get that Bears defence chasing hard, keeping deep. So, yeah, I liked what I saw from the Tigers. And, while Bristol Bears are looking up the table, certainly they're not shy defensively of letting a few in. And fair play to Tigers. They took full opportunity in getting 29 points on the board.
Which is really impressive when you consider the possession as territory that they had, which was literally nil. It was like 30%. That's really, really low. So, credit for them for actually really troubling Bristol Bears at time. But I think Bears just showed that, strong carries, strong scrum, sometimes the basics are enough to get you that go forward and to get you that dominance in the game. But I think looking ahead, Dave Ward will be a little concerned about conceding 29 points. That's big.
Yeah, when it comes to cup final rugby,
yes,
which Bears will hope to be in, obviously, then yeah, that will need to tighten up. All right, the second game of the weekend was 2:00. Sale Sharks against Quins. It finished Sale 10, Harlequins 43 at Haywood Road. Both teams coming into this one after the break. Quins was a bye weekend, which was more expected, but Sale's game against Trailfinders, of course, fell foul of the weather. Quins opening the scoring, Kildunn scoring try number 6 of her season, fittingly in the 6th minute, but Sale hitting back quickly with a tap and a snipe from Sophia Stefan, getting a little bit sharper as the Women's Six Nations hones into view. It was just 10-12 at half-time. There've been a few scorelines for Sale Sharks over this season where at half-time it's all been in the balance. But second half, Quinn scored 31 unanswered points, including an Ellie Kildan hat-trick, along with a couple of assists by her as well. It does just seem that Sale Sharks can stay in it for so long, but then those floodgates tend to open against them.
Yeah, they did. The biggest stat for me from this game was the meters made, right? And because they were so close in regards to the amount of carries, it really then exacerbated how much of a difference the meters made was. So for Sale, they carried 139 times, okay? Harlequins carried 150. So that's only 11 touches is the difference. Yet for Sale's 139, they got 355 meters. For Quins, 150, they got 642 meters, okay? Now, exactly. Now, what that tells you...
I just enjoyed making that noise.
See, if only they could have like an interactive stats pack, whereas, if you read it, you could press a button and then you get just to add a bit of depth to the stats. But look, what that tells you is they've got Sale going backwards, right? Which means the defence are going backwards. They're constantly Quins gaining meters. So needless to say, that led to a lot of offloads and a lot of line breaks. Most of them did come in the second half. So like you say, credit to Sale, they can stay in it. That shows you've got the skills to match up, but you need at some point to either kick on or you need to have that strength and depth that those sub players that are coming on are keeping up that energy and, and pushing the team forward. So it's tough old season for Sale. But Harlequins, some of those tries they did score in that second half. Oh, so good. The multiple touches. It's almost like, do you remember when you used to play like hot potato in touch rugby or rugby, when you can't keep hold of the ball, it's hot potato, you've got to let it go. And it was as if at times they'd score and they were told they can only hold on to the ball for 2 seconds. You've got to pass it, because it was just that bang, bang, bang. It was really good. It was, it was exciting rugby to watch. And Ellie Kildan, whoa, what a game for her. I mean, how many different ways did she show that she can score? Even doing just towards the end, just literally, I think she just got one pass out from the ruck and just dived over as if she was a back row, So yeah, awesome for England fans coming to the Six Nations. Ellie Kildan has not let that World Player Award go to her head, or if she has, it's kicked her on,
Well, and she's talked quite a lot, hasn't she, about how she wants to be the best player in the world, not just the best women's player, and how she wants to just keep improving, finding different ways to play the game. And I think we're seeing that. And it's so nice for a player to have been so candid about those ambitions, and for us then to witness it all happening. So I've got a lot of time for that. A lot of nice touches as well by Claudia Pena. She's played 11 this week. She spent time at 13 and 15 for Quins this season. I'm just, continuing to like what I see from her. Versatile young player, second on the offload list actually with 14 over the course of the season. Millie David is the one who is top with 17. And a word on Izzy Mayhew, back in the 23 jersey, and good to see her coming on and getting a try as well. Sale Sharks, they signs of physicality as well, not for the full 80 as we mentioned. As you say, last season conjured up victories against Quins and Bristol. There's no Six Nations break for them to regroup. They've got Exeter away, Gloucester at home, Saracens away. This could be a winless season, it's going to be a tough one. They want that win. They need those victories, partly as well, I guess, for Rachel Taylor and co. to be able to hang their hat on it and say, well, look, to players who might come next year and they're going to try and attract them up to Salford and Manchester. It helps if they can get a win on the board. So we certainly wish the best to Sale for the rest of the season.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, Saturday's third game was Gloucester Hartpury 33, Trailfinders 31. Oh my gosh, what a game. You're supposed to be, relatively composed in the commentary box and eyes on the... I'm not joking. I was jumping around sometimes. Poor Claire Thomas, who I was commentating with. The amount of time I was like bashing her and jumping, and it was just such a great game. But
excellent.
Look, What a scare it was for the circus. They were trailing with 20 minutes to go. Olivia Leverman put Trailfinders in front with a bonus point score in the 54th minute when Gloucester kicked on again. But the visitors were still hanging in there after Liz Musgrove scored to make it a 2-point game after 74 minutes. Ealing could have won it. Chloe Rowley's intercept at the dying minutes of the game really got the crowd on their feet. But look, Gloucester Hartpury just about clung on to the victory by 2 points. So that is 5 wins in a row for the champions.
Yes, and they were two pretty soft scores as well, led in by Trailfinders to start with. I thought, Mo Hunt charged down, credit, you've got to be there to do it, but that should be avoidable. I thought the Mackenzie Carson try was a little bit of an embarrassing bit of marking under the post. She was, yes, they were all honeypotting around the ruck, looking at the threats for the pick and go, but, she was absolutely unmarked, able to stroll in. So, those things are key. Trailfinders missing that Emma Taylor boot. As producer Caleb has said, you don't lose games because of kickers, but they can win you games. 2 missed conversions, which ultimately mattered in the end. And what a result that could have been.
Yeah, it was literally that close, wasn't it? I mean, Trail missed 2, Hartpury missed 1. So, if buts and maybes, everyone got their kick, the result would stay the same. But, and like you say, those 2 tries that they did conceive from the Mohun charge down and that short carry, when they come to review that game, they will see that as one loss. And you could see, as the cameras were panning down on full time, Lisa Thompson's face just gutted, because literally they finished the game a metre away from the try line, Gloucester Hartpury's try line. We actually interviewed Zoe Allcroft after the game. The first thing she said, she was like, "I'm frazzled."
Amazing.
Literally, she was shattered. Well, it went to 82 minutes, didn't it? It was brilliant game. What a game to have live on TNT. Just fantastic exhibition. Applaud both teams for a brilliant competitive game of rugby.
Yeah, Zoe Allcroft, she was tired. She made 28 tackles.
No, that'll do it.
Which was, and those top 3 tacklers from this round were Gloucester Hartpury, Georgia Brock in second with 26, Steph Else in third with 22. Also, a couple of other stats from the game. Emma Singh, third for post-contact meters. She's third across the season, actually, 230. That is, I think, insane for a fullback. Singh, Lisa Neumann and Grace White are the backs among the forwards for those post-contact meters. Amazingly, Nicole Wythe is still in the top 10 and she's been injured for a month. So that shows you what sort of season Nicole Wythe was having. Jade Conkle is the top of that stat with 296. Renita Marston-Mulhern second with 292. Also, Emma Singh is the top point scorer with 120. She's beaten the most defenders so far this season with 77. That is a fair few more than the person in second, who is Aliv Kelter with 59. So a few little nuggets for you there from the PWR stat pack. All right, the last weekend of the game then, Sunday's game at 3:00 was Loughborough Lightning against Exeter Chiefs. It finished Lightning 15, Chiefs 19. Both teams enjoying moments of attack early on, but it was 2024 World Player of the Year nominee Alex Tessier who drew first blood for the Devonians. The Midlanders responding with an Aliv Kelter score, her 6th try in 8 matches. Honourable mention, of course, for Emily Scarratt's 50th appearance in the Africa Violet. Pinpoint crossfield kick that Kelter gathered and passed on to Chrissy Skirfield that put Lightning ahead. Taylor Perry then saw red for the Chiefs before Michaela Nelson scored at the back of the maul, and then Scarratt landing a penalty to see Loughborough Lightning in front until the 85th minute, when a 13-player maul from the Chiefs resulted in Emily Titosi breaking those Lightning hearts, spoiling the Scaz party, and keeping the Chiefs in that top 4 race.
Oh, wow, this game. Oh, just brilliant. We talked, didn't we, about Loughborough Lightning and when they had that good performance, could they kick on? Could they keep going? And I see this one as a kick on. This was an arm wrestle. They kicked a lot more, which I actually thought was good. They relieved quite a bit of pressure, showed a good variety of kicks with Emily Scarratt having a few, and great to see Helena Rowland back from injury, starting in at 5 half. I guess Nelson maybe having a rest because she's been playing quite a lot of rugby, isn't she? Really good game, but I think the very subtle difference was Exeter's attack. They got more offloads in, they got more line breaks in, and ultimately towards the end, as you say, that sort of proved the difference. But I was frustrated for Loughborough Lightning when they'd just gone ahead on the points, 60th odd minute, and then Exeter get that red card, and you're like, right, now everybody roll up your sleeves, grind it out, get something. But it was actually Exeter that scored. And then, yes, they came back with that penalty, but then Exeter again scored again. And that was the moment, that was the point where I think they'll review that and go, oh, what should we have done in this moment to have won that game?
Yeah, and it says a lot about the last round that so much of your reaction and our shared reaction to each game was like, oh, what a game, and oh, what a game, and oh, what this game. And I'm just going to jump ahead actually to the table, because now we've sort of reviewed last weekend. It's just worth touching on. Gloucester Hartpury are top with 53 points. 3 points behind them are Harlequins. They've won the same amount of games, but they have one in hand. Exeter Chiefs are then in third with 43 points, tied on points with Saracens, and then Bristol Bears are 2 points behind on 41. It is a tight old top four race, and what a run-in we've got for Premiership Women's Rugby this season. So it could go in any number of ways. Teams not guaranteed any form of home semi-final, this kind of stuff. But we are certainly starting to see those teams that are taking shape for those top four places. But yeah, who they will actually be is still a bit of an unknown, and that's a lovely place to be at this point going into the final few rounds of the season. Speaking of which, shall we look at our round 15 preview then? A round that sees all matches live on a screen near you. So that's good news. Saturday, Bristol Bears travel to the capital in what could be a dicey encounter with Trailfinders at 12 o'clock in West London. That one is live on the Trailfinders YouTube channel. There's a promising Midlands derby as Leicester Tigers host their neighbours Loughborough Lightning. That's 12:45. You can catch that one live on TNT Sport. 3 o'clock at the Stoop. It's another derby, an all-London affair as Saracens and Harlequins meet. And the only Sunday fixture sees, well, the biggest journey in the league as Sale Sharks leave Greater Manchester for Devon as they visit Exeter Chiefs at Sandy Park. That one is live on the Exeter YouTube. Circus, they get a weekend off after that grandstand finish at Kingsholm. Blimey, there we go.
Okay, so it all kicks off on Saturday, 12 p.m. Trailfinders, currently 7th, playing Bristol Bears, currently 5th. This could be tasty. This is a high-flying Bristol team on a top four hunt and cannot afford to drop a point against Trailfinders' team that is showing they can mix it with the top dogs. So what could go wrong, eh? So with Loughborough Lightning and Quins to come, the Bears cannot afford to slip up. As for the Londoners, they'll feel they deserve some reward for their efforts in the past couple of weeks. And as you mentioned, this one is going to be live on Trailfinders' YouTube page.
Yes, it does. I mean, I'm not going to call it banana skin because that would be disrespectful for Trailfinders, but given
controversial comment.
Oh God, I've just realised they're going to put that. No, I've said a nice thing. Actually, I think it's fine. Don't give them the opportunity. But off the back of that incredible performance, and let's not forget Bristol letting in a fair amount of points from Leicester Tigers. Bristol are going to have to keep the back door closed here because Trailfinders are going to help themselves. They love playing at Vallis Way, and yeah, this is going to be tasty. You're absolutely right. Lisa Thompson, I love the fact that Mo Hunt gave her a shout out in the post match and said, Tomo had a brilliant game. I like that respect from one team to another. Thompson and Tyson Bukabu made the joint most carries last weekend, 19 apiece. That's across the round. Chloe Rowley beating 9 defenders. That was another top stat for round 14. She also averaged 12 metres per carry, which was third on the log. Trailfinders also won the most turnovers in round 14. Vicky Laughlin, Tyson Bukaboom winning 2 each. And obviously for Bristol, Holly Phillips, the only player scoring 4 tries at last weekend. She's the second front rower this season to score as many in a match. And the Bears, well, set piece is going to be important, isn't it? And they had 100% line-out success rate last week as well. Phillips making 11 successful throws. They've actually got the best line-out success rate so far this season. So that will give them heart. And also discipline-wise, the Bears conceding the fewest penalties this season, which is good as well. So, yeah, I think it's all eyes on Vallis Way, because we talked about actually, a couple of weeks ago, how Loughborough Lightning might affect that top 5. Well, Trailfinders have certainly bought a ticket to that particular party because they have the capacity to stop teams getting what they want out of games, and Bristol Bears need to go into this one focused and clinical.
Yeah, very true. I really was impressed with Trailfinders last week. Really impressed. Defense, they shored up. Their front row, especially Rory Woods, she is such an impact player. Some brilliant. I mean, when she carries, it's like having a number 8 on the field. To be honest, I was a bit gutted when I saw the front row being changed for Trailfinders. I get it. It's a hard game. It was on the 60-minute mark, but I don't know. I was watching Rory Wood, and the amount she was putting herself around the field, she looked like she could have gone a little bit more. And Abby Burton, oh my gosh, how good was she, carrying everywhere? And then you've just got the Energizer Bunny, Kate Zachary, just going wing to carry to jackal to just do everything. Like they're really coming together. It's almost as if at the start of the season we saw this attack, didn't we? Scoring from everywhere, brilliant, but the defense wasn't good. And then they've recruited one player here, and they've recruited another player here, and they've worked out their combinations. You could just see them building now. Obviously, they are out of the title race, but gosh, if they could finish on a real high, look out for them next season.
Yes, totally. And you mentioned Abby Burton, probably feeling a little bit more confident, having been included in that England Red Roses squad as well towards the Six Nations. So form being rewarded. A little tip of the hat as well, by the way, to Simi Pam from that game for Bristol Bears, saving lives during the week, running in 30-metre tries on the weekend.
Yeah.
Love that. Indeed. Powered differently. Okay, the next game then to look at. Saturday, it's 12:45. That Midlands derby, Leicester Tigers in 8th against Loughborough Lightning in 6th at Mattioli Woods, Welford Road. This is live on TNT Sports. No better timing for this one. The form that we're seeing from these sides. Emily Scarratt and Meg Jones colliding in the 13 channel. Julia Immaculate against Sadia Kabeya. Lightning have been on this upward curve. That win against Saracens, the performance against Exeter last weekend, and Tigers showing they've the ability to bounce back, not rolling over for Bristol, and the stats proved it. Check these ones out. Leicester Tigers made the most dominant tackles in round 14 with 12. Talia Brodie made 3 of those, which was joint top. They also had the best 22-metre efficiency in round 14. So every time they went in there, they were doing the business. They won a penalty or scored a try 64% of their entries. So averaging 2.64 points a visit. That is good. And then as for Loughborough Lightning, Emily Scarratt made the most kicks in play. You did talk about them kicking a little bit more ball in round 14, Philippa. 3 contestable, 2 retained. I've got an extra stat pack this week. I'm going all in. You might have noticed. And Daisy Hibbert-Jones making the most tackles, second most carries for Loughborough Lightning so far this season. She's played more minutes than anybody else. The head-to-heads to enjoy out of this one are just brimming over.
Oh, unbelievable. And can we just give a moment for Tigers as well? Conceding 100 points to Sarries last round. Now, granted, there's been changes in their team, but what a way to come back, to face Bristol Bears, to just bring it at them, that's credit to the leadership they've got in that team. That's credit to the coaching staff to be able to weather that and then come back in and to right some wrongs. I think that's just brilliant. And if they can capitalize on that and go again, because this one, look, you're going to favour Loughborough Lightning in this. But it's got I don't want to say banana skin, but this is a real opportunity for Tigers. And like you say, all those head-to-heads across the field, just brilliant. And like Emily Scarratt and Meg Jones for me, can you think of 2 like more world-class centres, but that are so different in the way they play? Like
Correct.
You know what I mean? I love that. When, if anyone's ever thinking like rugby is just, everyone plays the same way. No, watch these 2 centres. Okay, they're both 13. They're both going to tick everything you want from a 13, but they're going to do it in completely different ways. And who is going to come off top? Oh, I just don't know.
Yeah, and the respect they have for each other as well,
Yes.
which will no doubt be great to see. And hey, Meg Jones, she's not shy of a TV screen. Remember big game? She was certainly performing well when she was on that stage. And I would just also like to give a shout. We obviously are doing our joint pod with
Yeah.
Good Scaz Rugby for the final, which we're really excited about. Tickets are on sale now. I will make sure that that the ticket link is in our Instagram bio. But I had to plan when I was going to sit down and watch the recent episode where Meg Jones talks about the loss of her parents and that side of things, and it was a stunning episode. I cannot praise Meg Jones enough for how well she's talking about her late mum's addiction issues, all these kind of things. I thought Elma held the floor brilliantly. I just have to give praise for our friends over there. It's we're all doing slightly different things in this podcast world. If you want, really sensitive conversation and supported conversation, which ultimately just feels like a few good friends giving each other the space to be, then I think they do that so well. So a big shout out to Shira and everybody over at Good Scaz Rugby, because I think it's some of the best content out there at the minute. And if you haven't sat with a cup of tea and watched that Meg Jones episode, yes, there are some tough moments, but it's all handled so sensitively and so warmly that actually by the end of it, I kind of went away going, feeling quite cozy and wishing Meg Jones all the best. Anyway, I just wanted to give a little shout out for that because I thought it was absolutely super. So yes, that is Leicester Tigers hosting Loughborough Lightning, that Midlands derby on Saturday. Right, third game of the weekend.
That's going to be Harlequins taking on Saracens. Whew. So this one is going to be live on the Harlequins YouTube page. Saracens are in fourth and they've won 3 of their last 5, but Harlequins in second have won 10 of their last 10. Is the balance of power in London shifting from north to west?
Don't ask Alex Osterbury that question, whatever you do.
Sarries lost to Quins in round 7 back in November. It was a tight one, 15-14. It was genuinely agonisingly close. Saracens' next games are Ealing Trailfinders away, Exeter at home, and then they finish with Sale at home. So there's no easy road for them to secure that top 4 spot, or let alone a home semi-final. Quins just want to continue that winning streak and improve their home record against top teams this season.
Yeah, it's another really, really good one, isn't it? Ellie Kildare made 7 clean breaks, round 14, more than any other player. Harlequins missing the joint fewest tackles, which tells you about their efforts defensively. And they were the only team to lose 0 rucks in round 14. They also had the quickest average ruck speed. So they are playing with that Quins DNA that is prevalent in the men's team. It's coming right through the women's team with Ross Chisholm at the helm as head coach. As for Saracens, they've averaged the second most 22-metre entries and the most successful entries per game over the course of the season. And they've got the best gain line success rate. So getting over that gain line, I mean, when you've got carriers like Marley Packer, like May Campbell, and Poppy Cleal, well, that's going to happen. They've also averaged the most offloads per game and the second most meters per carry. So those are a few of the stats. It's just another humdinger. I mean, this could be a preview to a semi-final, depending on how that top 4 works out. So we are, given that we're only, a month or so away from those semi-finals, psychologically, these are big games now because you want to show to your opposition, well, if we meet you again when it comes to knockout rugby, we're going to show you we've got what it takes. So, the end of the season starts here.
This is so hard to call. I mean, what do you think? Which team's coming in? Do you think with the most momentum? Because we've just done about their win rate there, but Sarries are coming off the back of 100-0, like a huge performance, and then they've had a bye week, so they've rested, they've freshened up, they kick back, or like you say, you've got Harlequins that have come off the back of winning their last 10.
Yeah. I think Harlequins will. They will be growing with that sense of feeling bulletproof. I think, whatever we do, however it goes, we find a way to win. Certainly that November game where they won by a single point at the Stone X. So that will give them confidence. But, this Saracens side, they are dogged and they love it when they're counted out. They really do. And I wouldn't bet against them saying, right, you might have come to our place and taken a win, but we're going to come to yours. We're going to stop this 10-match winning streak, and we're going to remind everybody that we're a top 2 team. So I absolutely can't call it either. I will be doing my best to be tuned in to that game myself. Okay, the last game of the weekend, then Sunday the 25th of January it will be. It's midday. Exeter Chiefs against Sale Sharks, 3rd against 9th at Sandy Park. Exeter Chiefs, could you say they're a little low in confidence? Is that a possibility in 2025? I mean, they certainly got the win last week, didn't they? But a loss to Bristol, followed by that escape in Northampton last weekend, and now up against, well, this Sale Sharks side, who, arguably are going to be desperate away from home to look for that first victory of the season. All the action will be on the Exeter Chiefs YouTube page. It's all set up for Exeter Chiefs to kick on, remain in that top 4, but it's time for Sale Sharks to see if they can spoil something and put in an 80-minute performance that might just scare a side that at times might wonder if they are going to get the big prize this season.
I think being back in Sandy Park as well is big for them. They're going to be very disappointed about the last home outing. So to welcome a team like Sale Sharks, I think that they are going to be absolutely gunning for this game, wanting to prove a point to the wider audience, but also to their home crowd, to show them what they're made of. Defensive-wise against Loughborough, they were very impressive. They had the highest proportion of dominant tackles. Dorothy Wall, she's so good. 3 dominant tackles, joint first. She only missed 1 tackle all game. Like, that's Exeter Chiefs defence, that individual ownership on making your hits. And like you said, with Sale Sharks, that physicality is definitely getting there. They just need to keep it for the whole 80. And look, nod to Tuttiett Harper, made more dominant carries than any other player in round 14. That's big. She had a total of 8. She also made the most post-contact meters. They need more of that, but it can't just be on her. We need all those players to be standing up, because it's going to be a tough game against the Chiefs, and I see Chiefs being quite ruthless in this one.
Yes, yeah, and Liv McGovern, she didn't play the last game, but she is top on the most kick meters, most 50-22s as well. So
it's only because Claykie George being injured. Let's be honest, Gloucester Hartpury's Claykie George.
It's also, I think that stat is only sort of 2 compared to everyone else having 1. I think that's the nature of that one. It's something like that anyway. But hey, the power of a stat pack. Let's get these things in. That is the game taking place down at Sandy Park. Good luck to Sale Sharks down there, and also to Exeter Chiefs, who we really want to be all firing by the time we get to the knockout stages of this competition, because Chiefs are in 3rd in the table. Just a reminder of that as we come back to the table, and it is Sale Sharks in 9th who have yet to get the win. Tigers are 1 place above them in 8th on 12 points. Trailfinders on 22, 2 points behind Loughborough, who are on 24. And then, yes, we talked about those top 5. Gloucester Hartpury, Harlequins, Exeter Chiefs, Sarries and Bristol. There are 12 points between them all. Okay, the power line. Do keep in touch with us. How do you think the run-in is going to go for your team? 07880 716 219. We would love to get your reactions off the back of the games that are coming up this weekend. So prepare to be our reporter in the field at the 80-minute mark. Grab your phone, get on, give us a voice note, give us your digest of what's just happened, and hopefully we can include you in next week's Power Pod. I also have a confession. Philippa Tuttiett. I didn't chase up Tess Fury's one question that we had from Katana Howard. So we don't have that this week. It's not anybody else's fault. It's just mine. Terribly busy. I've been doing some hanging around with men's rugby. I'm terribly sorry. I went to the Men's Six Nations launch in Rome, and I'm terribly sorry.
I did see that. Casual little trip to Rome. You sneaky dog. You didn't even tell me.
I know. Sorry about that. I had some excellent carbonara. But yes, so we will get Tess Fury's one question for you all next week, because I know you're all dying to hear it. Okay. Any other business?
Well, we've got the news of next season, haven't we? So we've already got the dates to get them in your diary. So we have found out that the PWR Cup is going to kick off in mid-August. Then we've got the Cup Final will be the 11th, 12th of October, with the PWR season starting on the 25th of October. So all trying to make sure there's still some rugby whilst the World Cup is going on, but then giving a bit of time to those World Cup players to have a bit of a breather before hopefully they're all going to get straight back into the PWR standard season. And then if you have already bought your calendar for next year on your app store, then put this one in, because we've got the semi-finals on the 13th, 14th of June 2026, and then the final 27th, 28th, where we'll see
Oh, excellent. Good. I thought we were going to get some crazy prediction for 18 months' time who's going to be in the final. It's going to be fought out between Ealing Trailfinders and Sale Sharks. And wouldn't it be lovely to have two new teams in the final? Yes. So great to have those dates. 25th of October, then. Put it in your calendar. News from PWR this very week. Yes, so that PWR season start, a big one. The 25th of October, 4 weeks after that Rugby World Cup final. So everyone can look forward to that. There will be...
That'll be enough time for the Welsh girls to have rested. I think, 4 weeks. I'm happy with that. That's okay. Yeah.
Excellent. We are expecting the Sean Lynn effect to really take hold soon, aren't we? It will be interesting though, won't it? I mean, there are no excuses now for the Welsh girls. So how will they cope with that pressure? Anyway, we're back on that conversation. And we trailed it last week, and hopefully you have caught up with it across the socials. We have shared the collaboration post on our Instagram. We are doing the live pod, the collab pod with our friends at Scaz Rugby at the final, the PWR final. So yes, join us, join them. We're going to be on the live show. It's myself, it's Philippa Tuttiett with us. We're going to be with Elma Smith, Katie Daly McLean, and Meg Jones, and it should be fun, shouldn't it?
Oh, really looking forward to this. I mean, what an occasion, and to have everyone getting together to, slightly different podcasts coming together. But hey, let's see what's going to happen. It's going to be fun no matter what.
Yeah, they'll bring all the fun and the madness, and we'll bring
the
some
boring
highbrow
stats.
We'll bring some highbrow analysis. We'll do our very best to keep it fun, won't we? But yes, so there we are. And of course, it's the day after Super Saturday in the Men's Six Nations. So if you are drinking in all of the conclusion of that, well, the hangovers are welcome. We can get through it together. Will we be watching Mo Hunt's circus making the cut? Will it be a home final for Saracens? Will Ilona Maher be there in her Bears kit? Will Quins have another big game on their hands? There we are. This is all very, very nice leading up to that final at the StoneX. So yes, get your tickets for the live pod. They are flying out the door, I'm very, very pleased to say. So that will be something to really look forward to. All right, then, before we go, Philippa, what is PT's power play for this week, please?
Okay, so I'm looking at the Loughborough Lightning Exeter game. Now, I know Exeter won, but my power play is actually going to be going to Loughborough Lightning for the guts, the determination, the team play that they showed in that game. And on the 65th minute, it was tied 7-7. And Emily Scarratt steps up. They're in the 22. She gets the ball. She calmly looks up and thinks, there's a bit of space out wide. No penalty advantage, by the way, but she takes the cross-field kick. And I say no penalty advantage because we hardly ever see people gambling with that kick, because it is a gamble unless they know they're going to get that ball back via a penalty advantage. But no, Emily Scarratt didn't matter. She's on her 50th appearance. She's flying high. And to be fair, all jokes aside, I really think she is peaking. There's been a turn in her performance. She is peaking for the Six Nations, which is great. Cross-field kick to Alif Kelter, who catches it beautifully. Now, she's got one defender in front of her. And for all love and money, Alif Kelter, the ice hockey raging bull, you think, no problem, she's head down and she's just going to drive it over. But she just shows the lovely diversity of her skill set to go, actually, I can see Scurfield just in my peripheral vision who's got the footwork. And she does the softest little offload to Scurfield, who runs round her back and scores in the corner. In that moment, so much skill, so much guts, but selfless play as well. So my power play from last round was to Loughborough Lightning. Well done. Awesome effort.
Yes. Also, I mean, you describe them so well. I mean, how you haven't got a career as an audiobook narrator by now?
Wow, I know.
I'm
available, by the way. I am available. You want to hear my bedtime stories for the kids? I'm
do.
awesome.
I really do. Excellent. Well, thank you, Philippa. Well, it is all hotting up very, very nicely, isn't it? As we head down the slippery slope that is the business end of the PWR season. We hope you enjoy any of the games that you're getting to this weekend. Do keep in touch with us via the power line. We would love to hear your thoughts on how things are turning out, how that top 4 is going to take shape with 5 teams in the mix. What are you up to, Philippa, this weekend?
This weekend, I'm back into actually URC rugby, so United Rugby Championship.
Good.
Going to be heading down to Dragons, who have had a bit of a tricky season. So hopefully this is the bounce back weekend. We shall see.
Good.
What about yourself?
Well, I am potentially nipping away. My sister has very kindly invited me to join them at a little ski spot they've got for the weekend.
Oh, bore off.
I've had a very busy January.
Mr. Row, Mr. Skiing. Oh, right.
Although, to be honest, I'm fairly sure that the storm that is riding in on the jet stream that I've heard so much about this week is going to ensure we're not going anywhere. So if I find myself not going anywhere, I secretly will be delighted because I'm going to go to Vallis Way on Saturday if I can and watch that game.
Fair play.
So yes, I might just tell my husband that the flight's been cancelled just so I can do that anyway. But yes, so there we are. I'm too excited by the PWI to really want to go away and have fun on the slopes. But what a privilege that would be if I managed to. So that'll be that. Looking forward to being back with you next week. But in the meantime, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, PT. Thank you. And the Power Pod is a Level production produced by our very own Caleb Matombwa. Ta-ta, everybody. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.